Another beautiful spring morning. Out here enjoying the smell of fresh cut grass. Dan Conley and Bob Parkin have been faithfully mowing these giant hillsides, these green hillsides up here to keep the grass ultimately down, fire hazard, all that, and I'm just so grateful. Really, those guys are pretty faithful to spend a lot of hours in the sun making sure our property looks nice. Jimmy Cathy, good to see you this morning. Despina, good to see you. Welcome everyone this morning. Richard Van Allen, good morning. Mike and Joe Stromberg, Stephen Andrea, Charlie, good morning to you. Welcome everybody. Jan Akins, good morning. Did I catch any fish? Well, unfortunately, I did not. I am as shocked as you are. Carmen, good morning. I fish pretty regularly on Malonis Lake, and I don't remember a time where I have not caught fish, but yesterday was one. And so I did everything with, I fish a couple times a month year round, so I have a lot of resources in my experience to catch fish. I know where they are, I know how to catch them and all those things, but yesterday, nope. And it was kind of a day of a comedy of errors. A lot of things happened that made the day harder than it should have been. But all that, I ended up paddling probably close to 10 miles. And the last 2 hours of it in a headwind. But I absolutely loved it. I absolutely love, catching fish. If you're a fisherman, you know this. Catching fish is always a secondary goal. It's an important goal. I mean, you have to catch fish to keep fishing, right? It's like when you're golfing, it's that one nice drive or that you sink that putt, and that keeps you out there, and it helps you with all the bad shots you make. At least that's my experience. Catching fish makes it fun and makes you want to go back, right? But you also understand that you don't have control of all things. You have to release that part of it if you're going to continue to have fun fishing. So I had a great time, and it was a beautiful day. So good for my soul. Absolutely a great day. So I am filled with gratitude. Psalms. Great psalm this morning. There was an interesting phrase that I read in this psalm. I'm in Psalm 75, and there was an interesting phrase that I thought, what does that mean? I had to really think about it, and it is the phrase, your name is near. Let me read that first verse there. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks, for your name is near. We recount your wondrous deeds. And I was thinking, how can a name be near? I mean, I can see a person being near in proximity to me. I can see an event being near chronologically. It's coming up, but how can a name be near? And, I read the entire psalm. It wasn't really helping. And so I just kept meditating on it. And I started trying to do cross references because I was intrigued by this statement. And so a cross reference ended up being Psalm 145, which, if we continue to read the psalm, there's a sense in which we are giving thanks. The psalmist is giving thanks for all of God's wondrous deeds, and he recounts them in the idea that God is the source of all that we need, both for justice, for our salvation. Salvation meaning not our eternal salvation, but oftentimes the word salvation in the Old Testament is I have a particular need. I need rescue. There's something I can't resolve, and God, you are going to help me. You're going to save me from this. That's how salvation is often used. So you are my help. You are my salvation. You're the one I cry out to. You're the one who gives me food. You're the one. So we're giving thanks. You're my justice. This is the theme of Psalm 75. But in Psalm 145, that similar language is used in only just 2 or 3 verses. Let me read it for you, and then I'm going to come back around to our phrase, the name, your name is near. 145. And in I'll read verse 17, from verse 17 on. It says, "The Lord is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his works." So remember, Psalm 75, we are recounting his wondrous deeds. So here's his wondrous works. Verse 18, "The Lord is near to all who call on him." And that's kind of going to help us in a minute, but I'll keep reading. "To all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desire of those who fear him, and he also hears their cry and saves them." There's our word salvation again. When we're in need, we need help. God, you will save. He fulfills the desire, and he hears the need, and he saves. God is near to all those who call on him. So how is God's name near in Psalm 75? It is near in the sense that we can call on him anytime. I can call God's name because he's near. His name and all of his name implies is present at all times. So I love this idea, and I meditated on it for a while this morning. And it is, when you think about the fact that you have the God who spoke all things into existence, so he is the originator of all things, and the Bible tells us he's the sustainer of all things. Here's the God who makes sure the sun rises in the west and sets in the east at prescribed times every single day. Here's the God who sets the stars, fixes them in place so that you can actually navigate by them. Here's the God who creates the seasons, the 4 seasons of the year, and every year they come around. We know how the temperature changes and fluctuates because we know that it's summer, it's going to be hot. We know winter, we're going to get rain or snow. We know the fall and the spring have their own senses of their seasons, and things begin to bud and flourish. That's what we're experiencing right now. And we just know that this is the God who spoke, creates, sustains all things, and even his living creatures, he feeds every single day. We think about the birds, the squirrels, the deer, the fish. What God is active. God is not the point is, God is not a passive God. He is actively, and he's not absent from his creation. He's not far away. He's present and he's active. And he is currently sustaining, providing for every single one of his creatures simultaneously. He doesn't, create laws of nature and then lets it run its course and he backs off. The Bible actually describes God as actively involved with all of these processes. He is the one behind things like gravity. He creates gravity. We can observe gravity, but he creates it. And, he creates life. We can't create life. We can't... We can try to do things to give ourselves a quality of life, and we can take medicine to help us get better when viruses attack us or whatever. But in the end, God is the one who creates and sustains life. I'm using all these examples to come back to our statement that the name is near. It is the same God who is actively present and so powerful that he's sustaining and providing for all things. The Bible also tells us that we are a particular part of his creation that he most pays attention to. Things like what Jesus would say, hey, don't you realize that God cares even about the sparrows, the birds? He is aware when just one of them falls to the ground. How much more are you worth to God than a sparrow? So we are his particular creation. He is particularly interested in everything we do, our highs, our lows. God is relationally present when we are experiencing the wonder. When I was out there on the lake paddling around and just enjoying. I had a very real sense of that God was enjoying that with me. We were doing this together. When I am experiencing, or we are experiencing difficult, very trying times, we're experiencing the weight and pressure of grief, loss, the unknown of our future, and how are we going to tackle that a responsibility that's on the horizon, or whatever it is. God feels that, and he is present with us through that. That is just a reality. It is just a biblical truth that we can acknowledge in our brain. But that's not what God offers us. He offers us that we can not only know this, but we can know it relationally. And this is where I think the psalmist is at when he says, your name is near. This is a very relational idea. That our highs, God is relationally present. Our lows, God is relationally present. And we can call, because he's present and active, we can call on his name, and he is near. His name is near. So when we're having trouble, we can pray for salvation. We can pray for justice. We can pray for wisdom, pray for strength, pray for comfort. We can pray, God is our refuge. He is our strength. He is our help in times of trouble. Jesus said, if you abide in me, I will abide in you. Jesus described a relational closeness and intimacy that we have an active role in participating in. It's not just a truth that Jesus is present and Jesus is in us through the person of his Holy Spirit and so on. But that is true, but we can actively participate in that relationship and enjoy a deep, rich communion with a God who is limitless in what he can provide. So let me circle back, and as we close, to Psalm 145 when he says, he just echoes two statements. Whatever you desire, God fulfills. Whatever you need, God saves. I think that's verse 18. It says that in Psalm 145. I love the fact that God is present and active in both our desires, that we can find fulfillment of those desires, as well as when we have a deep, profound need, he is right there also supplying and saving. He grieves with us. He rejoices with us. He's right there relationally present. So therefore, in all these ways, God's name is near, because it can be on our lips at any moment. As we enjoy or grieve life, God's right there with us, and we can call upon his name. I love that idea. And yesterday that was so true. And when we talk about spiritual maturity, I know I'm kind of rambling on now. Spiritual maturity is, I believe, at least in part, where God and his Spirit is fully integrated into everything that we do. Everything we think, everything we see, everything we speak, all our decisions, in everything we do, if God is fully integrated into all aspects of life, that is when we can be described as spiritually mature at some level. And so that's the goal. And that's, I think, the heart of the nearness of the name of God. He's right there with us, available to us. And all we have to do is call on his name. So, and I just pray that you would meditate on that further, and get and experience it today, tomorrow, the next day. Practice it. Practice the presence of God, and I think that we will grow in our ability to enjoy life or endure life, because God is at our right hand. His name is near. God bless you, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.